Thank you very much for joining us here. Excellent discussion there on FlightBridge and its integration with X-1FBO. Tell us a bit more about how that works for FBOs. It seems here that rather a lot of people in the room are already using the combination.
Right.
Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. FlightBridge is the only tailored solution for the private aviation industry to book hotels, rental cars, catering, and ground transportation. It also, the goal of FlightBridge is really to help you improve your customer service and make you more efficient. So you can make all these bookings that we were talking about, like your hotel bookings, your rental car bookings for delivery to your FBO, catering, ground transportation, and also communicate with your customers. So all of this is integrated. The FlightBridge capabilities are integrated directly into the X-1 requests. So you get the ability to book all these services without having to leave the X-1 platform. So once you have the FlightBridge services turned on, you'll see the buttons that will allow you to do the bookings directly into X-1. Additionally, a lot of FBOs right now get these notifications, FlightBridge notifications from their pilots and their crew and dispatchers. So they will send the notification through FlightBridge, and then we can directly import that into X-1. So it will show up as an incoming request in X-1, and then it makes it so you don't have to re-enter the information, which is what people were doing before. So it just saves so much time being able to do these things electronically that people used to do kind of old-fashioned methods, either via phone calls or emails or things like that. And with FlightBridge, we can bring any FBO the ability to electronically communicate with their vendors and their customers. So,
Fantastic. Well, as an ex-line man, I can tell you that this integration between X-1 and FlightBridge seems like a miracle to me. I only wish we had it back in today.
Yeah, right.
Brad, thank you very much for giving us a couple more minutes of your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, that was a good discussion. Good panel. Lots to learn, lots to take home. Hopefully everybody else found the same thing. Insurance. There's a lot of eye-openers there. Craig.
Yeah, I mean, in insurance, we want to create the value add to support general aviation, right? So we want people to understand what goes into their policy, how it's underwritten, and change the way it's underwritten. It doesn't need to stay the way it's always been by pen and paper, right? So if we can get that buy-in from the community, work together with NATA, NBAA, and other, investment routes, then we can pass that savings along to everyone, and really create that competition for our businesses that we want to see, right? People participating in our organizations and fighting for your business on the insurance side too, which will increase profitability for everyone and sustainability, right? So.
And Jason, you opened the box on safety culture, taking it from the top.
Yeah, the safety culture has to start at the very top of the organization, and whatever that highest role is, whether, we call it an accountable executive, whether it's an owner or a CEO, and, whoever it is who has the highest level of responsibility in the organization, the safety culture has to start at that level, and it has to be clearly communicated early and often down to the lowest ranks from the first day that they arrive, whether they are reading a written policy signed by that accountable executive or a face-to-face meeting, communicating to them that this is important to me and you are important to me and your input is important to me. And then living that throughout their employment, understanding that they have a non-punitive reporting culture where even if you make a mistake, as long as you report it properly, you have nothing to worry about. And that's a real paradigm shift that has to be our way forward in order to make things safer. And that's not the way that That's not the way that many of us came up in the industry, and unfortunately, it's still true at a lot of places around. And it just has to change if we want to have a safer organization, a safer operation. You just have to know from the very beginning that your input is vital, and we understand people are going to make mistakes. You just have to report it properly. You can't try to cover it up.
Excellent, Sean. You had a lot to say on safety cultures and experiences.
Yeah, I think Jason certainly summed up kind of one of the key points of safety culture, but I think
one of the big things that I think about outside of this whole topic. To me, it's culture, it's technology, and how we get the data. How do we what other technologies and tools can be in place to help us implement a better safety culture? And then, to me, one of the biggest things is we've got to professionalize our industry. And I think it really comes down to how we treat our employees, how we view our employees, and really change the way that we look at both CSRs and LSTs and that whole kind of component of our business, our frontline employees, those that are touching the airplanes and touching the customer every day. It's a professional industry. It is not a transitory job. It is not a job that we should look at as disposable in any way. It's one that we've got to look at as something that we are building people up in a career. And it takes a lot of tools to do that, from a training to how we view the job just internally to, frankly, how we pay and how we compensate for that job has got to be different than a fast food worker at the end of the day. And we've really got to change that culture, because that really impacts everything else about how we do our jobs and how we can implement these things. Because at the end of the day, if a person's there for 6 months or a year, it's hard for them to become proficient. Yeah, I mean, they can get trained, but proficiency is a whole different thing than training. And so how do we get people that are proficient in this industry and that have the knowledge that can pass that knowledge down to the next generation, And it's real hard to do that in short nuggets. We've got to get people that are in the industry for a long time, want to be a part of the industry, and do their jobs well, and want to do it with excellence. So,
In short, I think train people, take care of them, mentor them, build the experience, keep the experience, and you'll have a much more efficient, safer operation.
Doug Kennedy, thanks for joining us today. It's our first user conference for X-1FBO. What are your thoughts so far?
You want to speak first?
Oh, absolutely. No, I'd be happy to. Okay. Well, yeah, I had the opportunity to get here and be here all day long yesterday, and so I've seen it so far. I'm super excited. I'm super excited not only for X1, but for the industry as well. Mm-hmm. It's really exciting to see a private sector company put together sort of what I would call an agnostic FBO conference, mm-hmm. right, where you have different FBOs who maybe tomorrow they'll be back on the airport, fighting it out, right?
Sure.
But today they're learning from each other and networking together, and I'm really, really excited to see it. I think it's just been great so far. The content's been amazing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's really good to talk about some of the shared issues that FBOs are having right now, and this bringing them together in kind of a really focused event has been great. Talking through retention challenges, talking through kind of the challenges they have with airports and fueling. So I think it's a great networking opportunity for them, and been a really insightful educational experience for them too.
Good. So, what's a primary theme or message that you would like to leave for our audience today?
I think a little biased, but around sustainability, we've been talking, around the opportunities for an FBO, why it matters to an FBO, and there are kind of ways to start early. Start with baby steps today, and we talk about looking at the accreditations, looking at the certification opportunities, looking at just building a carbon footprint. Mm-hmm. Understand where your emissions come from, and understand how to build a strategy from there. I think there's easy things that FBO can do that really do go a long way today.
Sure.
I echo Kennedy's words there in terms of sustainability. Obviously, we were speaking on that, so certainly a little bias on our side as well. But in seeing how sustainability and the ESG construct is more informed at airports, that private equity companies are more interested in seeing their investment companies, their verticals such as an FBO, be part of ESG. And I think the one thing I would leave as a takeaway, which we failed to mention, that's on me, is that NATA has a sustainability standard that any FBO can go to NATA's website right now and actually sign up for that and sort of take a self-audit and meet that sort of first stage of a sustainability, which is sort of an early step that they can do themselves.
Sure. Good. So I'm going to get a little granular with this question around sustainability, because sustainability is a topic that's relevant, I think, across many sectors, right? Almost at every sector. But as you preach the word of sustainability and SAF, which is within sustainability, the ecosystem of sustainability, why do you think it's so important for the aviation industry to come on board with the topic of sustainability?
I'm not sure if everyone else in our industry saw this or were sort of victimized by it, if you will, but literally in the last 3 to 6 months, environmental protesters showed up at FBOs across the country, particularly targeting large markets and protesting literally outside the doors in the parking lots of FBOs.
Yeah.
So it's right now in the public conscious, it's in the public space, and the optics associated with business aviation, again, just the optics, not the reality.
Mm-hmm.
The optics are not good when they see a single person come off of a large aircraft. They may not be aware that aircraft is completely carbon offsetting and is operating on SAF fuel, right? So that is kind of where I look at it, and I think right now is the time to be a participant, not a bystander, right? And then generationally, for me personally, I have 2 daughters. I offset my aircraft through 4Air, and it's meaningful to me just on a personal level.
Yeah, I think Douglas hit on a really good point there of just the attention, the optics I think that the industry gets is really accelerating the importance of having programs around this. And the pressure we get comes from all sides now. So it's coming from your investor, your insurer, your airport authority, your customers, your employees. And so we're going to see more attention in the media and therefore more attention from governments, around kind of sustainability action being required. And so the more we can get ahead of it and really show what a meaningful program looks like, the more we can kind of help shape that regulation, help actually make it impactful change forward.
Well, the next 5 to 10 years will be interesting to see how this changes the aviation industry. But thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jeff Dowty, Total Control Systems. You have some of your equipment on display here for all the people from the FBOs to have a look at, mainly relation to fuel. What do you think of the conference so far?
The X-1 conference has been outstanding. It's very well attended. It's a lot of great, meaningful conversations happening. A lot of great ideas being bounced around, around the industry, and we're just really excited to be a part of it. Total Control Systems has been a partner of X-1 since the early stages of X-1's development, all the way through now. So it's been great to see their growth and their innovation that they've had in the market, and we're just happy to be a part of that.
Excellent. Well, it's great to see so many people queuing up to see your equipment there, and you're answering all their questions. So hopefully you'll be kept busy for the rest of the day until the conference is over. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Steve Tubbs here with X-1FBO. We're here at the first inaugural X-1FBO, X-1 Approach FBO and User Conference. I'm sitting here with Jose Cabrera from Embassair. And Jose, first off, thanks for coming. Thank
Absolutely.
you for being here. Appreciate having you. Any impressions on our inaugural conference? How did we do?
I think everybody did an amazing job. It's amazing to see the first and inaugural FBO conference come to fruition, and no hiccups, very eloquent, very fruitful in many ways. So it's actually exciting that we finally get a very specific FBO dedicated kind of forum to share ideas. So it's been great.
Awesome. Absolutely. Any key takeaways that you filed away with regards to the industry at large, or maybe specifically the software?
I think the main thing is it's always any type of conference, and this one specifically, it's great to come and share ideas with fellow other FBOs. And I'm a faithful believer in like friendly competition, right? So whether we're on the same field or not, it's great to come to a forum where we can still see what other collectives are doing in the field and compare ideas, share everything. And when you bring X1 into the factor, right? So we're all using the same platform and we're leveraging same thing using in different platforms and different ways of how we're leveraging X1. And it's always good to compare notes and see what others are doing, what we're doing, and try to find the best practices to implement in the upcoming road ahead for us specifically as a new FBO, right? So coming from a brand, a large network of FBOs to a sole FBO, it's difficult because you're the one implementing all these tools and resources, and I think X1 has played a fantastic large role in allowing us to get the data, get the automation, get the efficiency that we need and seek towards our meeting our goals and all that criteria and success for that matter. So it's been great.
That's awesome. I appreciate that, and we're certainly happy to be a part of it. So you mentioned that you're brand new FBO, Embassair, right?
Yes, we are.
Just making a splash here now. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so definitely a disruptor in the FBO business. I think we've talked to so many people today, and everybody that has come and seen the FBO, we've all seen multiple FBOs, and I have never seen an FBO like this. And anybody that walks through the door can kind of state to the same thing. We're definitely different, seeking to bridge a lot of gaps that haven't really been bridged before, catering to a very more specific clientele and customer and crew member needs all together. Very luxurious and exclusive areas. I mean, we have a patented design for privacy, security, and confidentiality. So very different. It's exciting. Challenges like anywhere else, but it has a lot of value to provide to customers around the Miami area. So
very cool. Yeah, private, secure, and definitely a beautiful building for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the next 6 to 18 months look like for you guys? What are you looking forward to?
Oh man, so much going on. We're just met our 2-month goal, or just start over that. So we just met our 2-month bridge of being open. So our next few months is we're trying to get to normal operations, right?
What a concept.
We definitely had very good scalable growth. So it's looking very positive. We've made a lot of new partnerships that are going very well. Everybody that comes to the facility, they leave with a smile and definitely come back. So that's looking well. I think our next big project is going to be opening a customs facility. So a customs facility will be opening mid to late summer of this year.
Gotcha.
I think that's a sweet spot that we will have coming up soon. Everybody's very excited about it. Later on is just getting the FBO ready for further normal operations, getting to our routine steps, and getting ready for the upcoming season, and just being another big player on the field and available for the markets. And from there on, we will be looking and are actively looking at opening our second and third location.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your successes to date.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Good luck into the future, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man. Thanks.
Con from X-1FBO, you're the fuel guru.
Thank you, Joe. I've never been called that before, but I'll take it.
It's a compliment.
It's a very good compliment because fuel really does drive the industry. I've worked for various FBO chains in the past, and the commodity that everyone kind of measures their performance by is fuel sales, at least in America. I know that there's a little bit of a different model over in Europe, but fuel is the driving factor in all FBOs here in North America.
Yeah, Europe, we work off handling fees more than fuel, but it is changing to be an amalgamation of both. But here in the USA and Canada, fuel is king, and you work a lot with metrics. X-1FBO is frankly full of metrics. How do we get them out? How does the customer use them?
That's a very good question, and it kind of reminds me of a phrase that someone told me one time, is that the FBO industry is the only industry that takes the same commodity or product and can price it differently. The only other industry is really the mattress industry. You're buying the exact same product, but why are two different places selling it to you for two different prices? And obviously, it boils down to a lot of things, some of it being real estate, where you're located, what amenities you're offering. In a related comment, X1 is a platform. The advantages of X1 is that you have access to your data. It's a SaaS application, but you have the ability to extract all the data points that allow you to make informed decisions. I know that a lot of FBOs kind of live and die by judging how they performed the prior year versus, and also how they perform versus budget. But in the end, those are just numbers. It's very hard to kind of make meaningful business decisions based on the fact that you made X last year and Y this year without actually getting down to the layers of what drove those variances. X1 gives you that ability not only to the customer level, but it gives it to the payment type, the fuel release. All those data points are available not only through canned reports through the X1 platform, but what Jim and I just demonstrated up at the front stage was that you don't need to be a financial analyst. You don't need to have a corporate headquarters that runs all your finances in order to extract that information from a system that you might be using as a point of sale system. So that's another one of the advantages. Through this Power BI interface, Jim was able to create, dashboards, graphs, and reports probably within 30 minutes. And I would say that he is not a Power BI expert. He's very proficient in it, but he doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I noticed that it's all about accuracy and it's about real time as well.
That's a great point, Joe. I think a couple of the indicators of what you really need is you need timely and accurate data. It really doesn't. It's not helpful to get accurate data if it's stale or months old. So it really is a combination of being able to harvest that information in a timely manner.
And X-1FBO does that in spades.
It does. It's intuitive and it gives the users the ability to see what's happening both in the ramp and in their on their point of sales pretty much in real time. And it's one of the it's probably the only software application that does that in such real time measures.
And do you feel that users understand how to use that part of the system and are employing it?
That's a really, really great question. I've been in this particular market for, I think, 15 plus years. And I can remember when I started, and I've worked both, at the corporate level and actually at an FBO myself. And just the demographics have changed. Back 15 years ago, I could tell you that the median age of those folks that worked both at the FBOs is probably 20 years older than it is now. I see a lot of young faces. So to your question, everyone is a little bit more adaptable to changes. So I think you don't have to know everything to be able to leverage this tool to get what you want. It's easy enough.
Talking to a lot of your clients here and understanding the language they speak, it seems to me that all too easily somebody could bring in X-1FBO and really love what it does communication-wise on the ramp, connecting all the various departments together, and actually overlook that deep down there are some tremendous metrics in there that can help them upsell right across the board. And a lot of people seem to be talking to you guys, finding out more how best to utilize all of that.
Yes, I think that it's very easy to sell this product as a front of the house product, just because those are the folks that are the first line of customer engagement. The line service technicians are the first people who are seen when the passengers and the pilots get off the ramp, and then the customer service representatives are the first person that the pilots communicate with. They usually get the brunt of any issues or any complaints that they may have. So this tool has almost eliminated that by just trying to keep as many people in the FBO connected as possible. But there are other levers that X-1FBO has that gives you a lot more power on the accounting side.
Yeah, I'm seeing here and hearing that having a user conference is really, really useful to your clients because people are interacting. I'm seeing FBO talk to FBO. I'm seeing them go to you guys and have a discussion. And you're sitting back and saying, that's a good idea. Maybe we haven't looked at that. Maybe we can put that in. Let's talk more about that. So it's a continual development process that the customer is probably not really aware of. That there's more coming down the line. There's more in the system than meets the eye initially. And also getting the impression that when FBOs bring in X-1FBO and it's implemented and it's up and running, that they really ought to talk to you guys again and say, yeah, we're used to this now. This is working absolutely fantastic. We've replaced our old systems. This is brilliant. Everything is much more efficient. We're missing less. What else does it do? because there's so many packages in there, as you've been describing, and Jim was describing there earlier on, that talking to you guys on a regular basis pays dividends.
It sure does. I mean, essentially, the SaaS model is an a la carte. You don't have to subscribe to every single offering in the X1 suite, but it does cater to smaller FBOs to those larger chains. So you do have that ability to cherry pick what you want and what will work for you. And there are as you can see, there's been programmers that have been pulled onto the stage, Umberto on the technology side. Everyone pretty much has their hands on, development, troubleshooting, any issues that the customers want. So everyone is very intimately aware of the customer needs.
Totally. They're all hands-on. They're all available. They're all keen to talk to people, but they're listening as well.
Exactly.
And when the conference is over and everyone goes home, or their FBO, where they're probably working go to 12 hours a day, they can still just call up support, just hitting that icon on the bottom right-hand side of the screen and get support 24 hours a day.
They sure can. And that's one of the advantages of having a user conference versus, trying to convene in a large like NBAA setting. It's a lot more intimate. You've got a better captive audience, and they actually want to share their best practices.
Yeah, it's focused. Con, you've been extremely helpful. Thank you very much for taking a few minutes out to talk to us.
Thanks so much, Joe.
And we'll see you later on. Caroline, Kyle, that was an interesting discussion. Opened a lot of conversation up on fuel pricing. What was your main point, really, to empower CSRs to sell fuel, offer discounts, but not give the whole game away?
Yeah, well, I think it's a really fine line, right? Because you have, as a FBO, you have your fuel supplier, you got your negotiations with your contract fuel, and so you don't want to disappoint anyone. Like, why didn't you offer your fuel branded contract fuel? Why did you give them a retail discount? Are you giving everybody retail? Are you guys offering anyone? So you definitely have that fine line to cross. But I think that if you can have transparency in terms of what you're trying to accomplish with your negotiated partners, so to Kyle's point, if your contract fuel company knows the margin you're trying to make on the retail side too, and maybe they weren't able to offer you a one-off or whatever the case is, maybe they don't have a 24-hour support where you could just call them, then it's transparent. They know that you had to give the discount and you don't have to feel bad about it. And so I think that's what's important about, what Kyle's doing in terms of getting aligned and having having margins that align themselves with both all types of payments, because this industry is so inundated with different types of payment options, that if it's all aligned more or less to get you more or less the same outcome, then you can be transparent and there's no hidden agendas of this guy's getting more than me, this guy's getting more than me, and as a CSR you're kind of stuck in the middle of that weird those weird negotiations. So yeah, that's basically what we talked about.
And Kyle, you're also looking at hangars and maximizing revenue there through metrics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that it all, ties together. Like with fuel pricing strategies, for example, we want to make sure that it's a little bit more dynamic. And the same thing happens with, overnight fees and hangar rates, whether it be for base tenants or for transient customers, just making sure that you can maximize your margins. And, one of the things that we find that a lot of FBOs do is they try to keep their pricing strategies very simple, small, medium, large, and there's just better ways to collect revenue to do other things, like reinvest, like what we were talking about earlier with safety initiatives, and making sure that you pay your employees. So there's just smarter ways to enhance pricing, and that's really what we're trying to focus on.
And that brings us back to one of the X1 points, the smarter way to run your FBO. It's about taking different initiatives to empower people, to increase revenue, not to give everything away, as you said. That's about it. Kyle, Airside FBO, you do a lot of work with data. Data is king of the FBO world. You're using X-1FBO to a certain extent. Tell us more about that, please.
Yeah, no, I think the data provides just tremendous insight into your business, and it makes, locations smarter. They're able to become, more profitable, but you have to do some of that discovery work first. And once you get, just a couple of key pieces of information, like, either your fuel sales or, your margins, once you can wrap your arms around that, we're able to do some really neat things at FBOs, make them more profitable. And then, in turn, you obviously have to do some other things as well, like focus on service enhancements. But I just really appreciate the value of data and what that can bring to the locations we work with.
Yeah, I was watching your presentation there, and it was wonderful how you actually explained data versus hangar space, how to get the best out of it, but also fuel. And I certainly identified with your comment on, has anyone ever missed the GPU billing? Yeah, I have, and I've seen a lot of that. So data is king.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as far as the hangar and the fuel, I think that everybody has a pretty good handle on what square foot rates are, but we try to take it a step further and incorporate what the fuel sales looks like, and create a couple of metrics that can help you very quickly identify who your most valuable customers are, and if there's any opportunity to potentially increase or adjust fuel rates or hangar rates and so forth. And then your question about the GPU. I know that happens at most locations, and again, it's not malicious, but if you're able to keep a keen eye on what's occurring at your location, you can make sure that those misses are few and far between.
Yeah, definitely. And a GPU that's given out to an aircraft for 4 to 5 hours, particularly if it's gone tech, that's a lot of money missed. Kyle, thank you very much, and we talk to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Neil, welcome to the X-1 Approach FBO conference.
Thank you,
I've
Jeff.
just enjoyed listening to what you said on recruiting. You come from jet aviation. You have a huge amount of experience in this field. Looking at what's happening in Europe, and now I realise what's happening in the USA and Canada with recruiting, especially since COVID. You really are required.
We are, Joe, and thanks. I'd like to say thanks to everyone for having us today. Great show. It's tricky out there, Joe. Basically, especially after COVID, people are really wanting positions for the long term. It's not just all about the pay these days. So it's all about the schedule, the company culture as well, and also going out to find the individuals. So we're kept busy, but you have to be very proactive these days and really sell the culture, the brand, and what it's like to work in an organisation day by day. Because people want to be happy, and I think that's more of the case these days than before. People realise post-COVID that life is very precious. Also, they want to spend time with the family more, and so things like they're looking at schedules and values of companies, etc. So, yeah, it's changed a lot recently.
Yeah, and you've been given some very, very good hints on how to deal with getting new people in from visiting schools and, frankly, the local McDonald's, and getting young people, attracting them into the business and letting them start a career from the ground up. So it's not always about bringing in people who are already in the industry or skilled. There's many facets to it.
That's a great point, Joe. So what we advise customers, and what we do as an organisation ourselves is introduce GA and the FBO world to a new audience. So by that is going out to outreach into communities, etc., and introducing the world to them, because what we found is once we've done that and we've talked to individuals at schools or even local restaurants, etc., they didn't know that this world existed. And once introduced to it, they become very passionate about it. They feel very proud to be part of an organisation. They're the top performers a lot of the time. The longevity is there because they've, appreciate the opportunities, etc. So yeah, it's I think that key now for organisations is to introduce these job opportunities to new audiences, as you say, and it can work out very well.
Fully in agreement. I've always been a strong advocate of mentoring people. You bring them into the industry, and particularly if they're young, mentor them, pay attention to what they're doing, show them the ladder through the industry, and with any luck you'll get them to love the smell of avgas and Jet A the same as us, and they'll stay in the industry and be happy. But you have to keep your eye on the ball and look after them.
Couldn't agree more. I would say all these, especially potentially those new to the industry, if you spend the time with them, as you said, mentor them, take the time to to educate them, talk to them about their future, and communicate regularly with them, they will be employees for a long, long time. I can guarantee you that. If we're all human beings, and if we feel a part of something and a part of a team that appreciates us, a part of an organisation that we enjoy working for, we will stay at that organisation. It's all about waking up in the morning and feeling valued, which is key.
Yeah, and feeling like you're going to have a good day ahead, even if it's a tough day sometimes.
Exactly.
Plan A that seldom works out.
Yeah.
But I've always felt that, particularly with younger people, if you pay attention to training, give them quality training, make them feel part of the team, make them feel valued, let them know there's somewhere to go, they'll stick with you. And they'll take it as a profession. And give them the professional feel to what they have to do on a day-to-day basis.
I couldn't agree more, and that goes for ongoing training. I think that's an important point. So you have training at the outset, which of course they need. Obviously the towing or customer service, etc., whether it be software. But what is also very, very important is ongoing updates. Is to training on the job training as well. So how can we improve operations? How can we keep them improving as individuals and as a team and as an organisation? So I think that it's important to do the onboarding side of things, if you like, the first, say, 2-3 months. But also I always advise people to check in every 3 months after that, update them on how they're performing, but also the ongoing training as well, which is very, very key.
Excellent, Ian. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Oh, you too. Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll see you again next year.
I look forward to it.
And take care in the meantime.
Yeah, will do. Thank you very much.
Trissy, that was a great conversation you had with the audience there. Much appreciated. A couple of things I took from that I hadn't known before. GoRentals is aviation only.
Yes, thank you. That's correct. We've been in the business over 26 years, and only private aviation. We don't rent to the public.
That's a big bonus.
It is. So for FBOs, one of the challenges is 24/7 to have rental cars delivered, dropped off from our friends at the legacy companies, and their focus is more on the commercial industry. Our sole commitment is private aviation. Our vehicles are already there on site for the last minute walk-ups, overnight books, vehicle changes, vehicle upgrades, whatever the FBO needs, we want to be there as an extension of them and provide that service to their crews and passengers.
Yeah, so it's a service that is complete, encompasses everything an FBO wants. But first and foremost, it's reliable.
Absolutely. So we have 2 guarantees. We guarantee make and model. If a guest has requested a large SUV, we guarantee it will be a large SUV, no surprises. We also guarantee that the vehicle will be there when the aircraft arrives or it's free. We don't want to give vehicles away, and so we're very diligent with that guarantee.
And at this point, how many FBOs do you cover?
We are approaching 200.
That's quite a few, but still room for growth.
Absolutely. We're always looking at new opportunities. The FBOs that we are currently partnered with are the very best reference for us. I can say all day long how amazing GoRentals is. We always recommend that you go to these partners that we have across the country. They've experienced GoRentals. They use us every day. They understand the reliability, the consistent service that we bring to their FBO, and the difference that it makes. It allows their team to focus on the business of the FBO and allows our team to focus on the vehicles and making sure that they're crews and passengers have vehicles.
And GoRentals really seems to be the next extension of the FBO. It's the next step for the client to experience.
Yes, absolutely. So an FBO does everything that they can in their power to provide a seamless experience, to elevate the customer experience as they come in, to develop loyalty. Two things that FBOs don't have control over typically are the rental cars and the catering. And it's still, at the end of the day, if those two things fail, it's the FBO's fault, even if they had nothing to do with it. So we are on site and we allow the FBO to close that gap. And so now they have full control of everything that happens, allowed wheels up, wheels down, the seamless service. They roll the red carpet and our team is there with the vehicles.
Well, all of us in the FBO business have experienced the car not turning up. What a nightmare that is. So best of luck with the operation. It sounds like a lot more FBOs will probably sign up.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you.